This podcast could potentially have adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly the possibility of sexual content. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Drinking with Authors. I am your host, Erica Lance. My co-host today is the amazing Bo Lake. And with us today is Kelly I. Hitchcock. Woo!
Yay!
I really hope my producers still put that soundtrack there, but I don't know if they do, because that's a thing. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe. I have to say that because for whatever reason, people don't instantly go, I love this show, I should subscribe to it. Let's talk about what we're drinking. So I am very fancy and very bougie today. I am drinking I'm probably not even going to say it back. Brelevore Farm Elderflower hand-picked lemonade. It's by the way, crafted with nature. I don't know what that means, but I feel like there's probably dirt in it. But anyway, I added my botanical, it's got dirt. I added my botanical gin in my Drinking with Authors swag cup, which you can kind of see. So all of our authors, by the way, Kelly, get swag for being on the show. This one happens to be swag from the very beginning. So, but it's cool swag. Anyway, that's what I'm drinking. Bo, what are you drinking?
Well, I have two drinks today. One is just green tea and the other one is a blue moon. So I'm going to just switch throughout.
I like it. I also have water because hydration is important when you're putting more than half a cup of gin. Kelly, what are you
True
drinking?
story. Well, I've got two things as well, and I am not fancy. I'm pretty basic when it comes to drinking. I don't like to make a lot of fancy cocktails unless I'm paying someone to do it for me because I'm not good at it. I do it for TikTok, but I don't do it like just on a daily basis. So I'm really a wine and beer person. So I have this Boulevard Holiday Ale that we got from the tap room when we went back to Kansas City for Thanksgiving, because Boulevard is in my book. I thought it was apropos. And then when that's empty, because it will be soon, I have my boxed wine container.
Yes, the whole container.
The whole container.
I'm appreciating all of this that is happening right
now. My spouse knows me well, and this was a Mother's Day gift for me so that I could just put the bag in this dispenser and get a glass of wine whenever I want to.
That is very cool. Yeah, no, you got to appreciate the spouses that know you well. I'm redesigning our kitchen. We bought this house a year ago. And one of the things, when I was showing the layout of the kitchen to my other half, he was like, where is the wine going? And I was like,
that's an important question.
Oh, and I had them redo it. So I have a whole like wine thing to talk. Because I was like, I didn't think of that. I was being practical in like cooking stuff, but no, now I have wine stuff. Okay. So Kelly, for the audience at large that may not know you yet, what do you write?
So I write a little bit of everything. My latest novel is humorist fiction, and the one that I'm working on is also humorous fiction. I'd say I fall mainly into like the literary, humorous, ladies fiction category, but I also have written, I have a children's book that I haven't done anything with yet. I write poetry, I write essays. I've had no shortage of weird jobs that involve writing for people and doing things for them, including I once had a freelance job where I wrote people's online dating profiles and wrote like messages to matches. But luckily I don't have to do that anymore. That's a thing.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that was a thing. Did you know that was a thing, Bo, that you could pay somebody? Oh my God, when I was on those sites.
Why even be on it at that point? Because they're not even talking to you, they're talking to you.
It's true. Well, I think from the profile perspective, you know, people are really bad at talking about themselves, and I'm no exception. I will say that job really prepared me to like write the bio, like my own bio and back cover blurb for my book, because you have to condense it down, but it's like, how do you condense yourself down into a paragraph? It's hard to do for anybody, except a stranger. So that's where I came in. But I don't have to work freelance for $14 an hour anymore, thankfully.
No, that's good. Now that just gave me a whole idea for a book though, because I write humorous erotica and I had no idea people paid for it. I'm writing this down, Kelly. I'll
Ask me
mention you.
anything. I'll be a
Yes.
paid consultant.
Oh my God. Absolutely. I will. This is I'm like I'm so thrown off by that. Okay. So
I'm sorry.
what is your latest
Humorous
book?
fiction. My latest book is Community Klepto. It just came out in June. This is the cover. And it is a humorous fiction story about a girl who compulsively steals from people at her gym. So if you like contemporary fiction, you like to laugh, and you have a love-hate relationship with the gym, then Community Klepto is the book for you.
I love
Wow.
the cover.
I do
You
too. It's
too.
perfect.
I really had no idea, like when I was describing, like filling out questions for the designer, I'm like, I have no idea what they're going to come up with, but I think they really nailed it.
I think they absolutely did. So I gotta ask though, where'd you come up with this idea for this book? Because that's like a whole, like you being blown away here as I sit. That is a very unique concept.
Thank you. I got the idea when I was living in Kansas City. I'm in Austin now, and I was training for my first and last marathon. I'll never do that again. And
hey, it's off the bucket list. You know those little
it is.
Facebook
It's
things.
true.
Have you ever? You could be like, "Yep, done and done."
Check. And it started out as a short story because I was spending a lot of time in the gym, a lot of time on the treadmill, especially when it was either too hot or too cold to run outside. And I really hate the treadmill. I have one in my house that I use that I don't enjoy, but I hate the ones at the gym even more because then you have people next to you trying to like talk, and you're like, I don't want to talk to you. So it started as I had this incident where some guy came up and tried to talk to me about what I was reading or watching on TV, and I was like, I don't want to talk to this guy. And then as I'm on the treadmill spending all this time at the gym, I see people like leaving their shit out at the gym, and not just like keys and hoodies, but like iPads, backpacks full of stuff. And I'm like, what if somebody were to just walk up and take their stuff? Like, they're being very trusting right now. And so that's where the idea of Anne, my protagonist, came into play. And she was also just a vehicle for me. Like, you run into people at the gym who like, they lift their weights too loud, or they crowd you out, or like they spend all their time on their phone when they should be working out. And it's like, I can't talk about these people out loud because I'm a functioning adult and I can't do that. But if I had a character say these things that are in my head, then that would make it okay.
I love it. I love it. That's, trust me, I do so much people watching, and I have a sign on my door that says, "Warning, writer at work, you will be killed in the story." I eviscerate people in fiction all the time. Like, it is one of the best ways to get back at humans in this world.
Write what you know.
Yeah, like I will write you in, and I will fucking kill you in my story, painfully so. And so, yes, no, I think that sounds brilliant. Okay, so when did you publish first? When did you first get published, not on a dating site, but as a published author under your name?
As a published author under my name, the first thing I ever had published was a lit magazine who published a poem of mine about Crayola crayons. I have a very weird like hang up about Crayolas like being our first like status symbol as kids. Like, I had the 24 box of the off-brand, and other girls had the 81 box with the built-in sharpener. Like, you were hot shit if you had that crayon box.
Yeah.
And then my first novel I published, I self-published when I was 22. It's called The Redheaded Stepchild. So
I'm not giving away any secrets. Yeah. Watch the YouTube.
It may or may not be about my life growing up. And I had, been shopping it around. It started out as my senior project in college because I went to school for creative writing, and grew into a novel. I got tired of, hearing the same refrain of well, nobody really cares about a story about a white girl from the Midwest, so no thanks. And was like, fuck it, I'll just publish it on my own because I really wanted to go on and work on other things. So my second novel I published in my 30s, and Community Klepto came out 1 week after my 40th birthday. So I'm hoping that it doesn't take me another decade to do another book, because I would like to,
I
not
hope
spend
it
that much
doesn't
time anymore.
either, because you
Yeah.
have a humorous imagination, and that would be a waste.
Well, thank
So,
you.
must go faster. That is my advice. It's very Jurassic Park, my advice on that. And I hope you get chased by dinosaurs so you go faster. That's
Well, I
yeah.
have 2 6-year-olds, and that's kind of the same thing.
Yes, no, my gosh, that is the same thing. They're pretty much like velociraptors, including
They
It's
are.
true.
the tapping and the screeching, like the whole thing.
And the opening doors when you're in the bathroom, the jiggling handle. Yeah, I feel you.
The fingers under the door. Mom,
Yeah.
are you in
Mom,
there?
I need you, Mom.
Oh my goodness. Okay, Bo, I know you always have questions, so
I
'cause you're
always do.
more prepared than I am.
What drew you to humorous fiction? Because that's so outside of my wheelhouse. I want to know more.
I don't know. I think, I don't know. I don't think we choose our genres. I think our genres choose us.
Mhm.
And again, I think it's just more of these are the things that are inside my head that are unacceptable to say out loud, but they're things that I think and things that I can say when I'm inside a character's head that I can't say in real life. And really, I mean, for Community Klepto, the gym is just so ripe for humor anyway.
Yeah.
And for the book that I'm writing now, it's about a widow who has twins and an older singleton, which you wouldn't think that would be funny, but I'm making it funny.
No, I could see that being funny. I think there's humor in almost everything we do. It's just how do you look at the humor in the situation?
And how
Not
much time has passed between the tragedy
And it being funny.
yeah, with enough time, like any tragedy becomes funny. Like they say that's the formula is that comedy is tragedy plus time.
So you went to school for creative writing. Did you want to write novels when you went to school? Like, what did you go for creative writing for?
Oh, I didn't fucking know what I wanted to do when I was 19, 20 years old.
True.
Well, at the time you thought
yeah.
you knew what you wanted to do. I did HR for a long time. I say we change our mind about what we want to be when we grow up a million times in our
all
lives.
I knew, all I knew was that my only real skill that set me apart from other people that I went to school with. Now, granted, I grew up in a town of 2,400 people, so it wasn't like I had a big pool to compare to, but I was always a good writer. I always had teachers who were like, you need to keep writing, you need to keep writing. So I knew that was what I wanted to do, but I thought that the only way that you could survive with a degree in English was to be an English teacher. So I was like, okay, I'll just go to school and become an English teacher. And then here I am 20, I've only been out of high school for 2 years, but I go to my first in-class observation and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to work with people of this age group. And I'm glad that I figured that out, early.
Yeah, before you're in your master's
Yes.
program.
Yes, I'm so glad that I figured that out early. So I pivoted and I was like, I'll just go get a degree in creative writing. Maybe I'll go into advertising. I actually got lucky in my senior year and got a tech writing internship, and I ended up being a tech writer for 10 years. So it's kept me afloat.
Wow, tech writing, that's something, because I used to run IT too. Like that is a whole thing by itself.
Well, I'm a tester now. So after I kind of felt like I went as far as I could with tech writing, I always thought I would be good at testing. So that's what I do now.
Oh, that's very cool. I love that you kept writing though, and you kept that as part of the passion that you had going forward, because some people do, creative writing and then go to journalism or whatever. But I think it's definitely something where when you have that and you have that ability and you're able to continue to maintain it in whatever form, going forward is phenomenal. So
I don't know that it necessarily has a form. It's whenever I can.
No,
Like
you've had forums. I'm so super excited
Yeah.
about this writing dating things. Anyway, it's got my brain going 100%. I'm like, more gin. I've got an idea. Um,
Absolutely.
let's talk about your journey. So this first book took you 10 years to do, correct?
My first book,
How long did it take you to write it?
the first book, I guess it was about 5 years, but I was in my 20s, so
Mhm.
that was like that was nothing. The second book, I wrote most of it during a NaNoWriMo challenge because it required me to talk to other people, and there was no way I was going to do that if I didn't have a fire like lighting me to do it. So I had to like interview people and talk to them. It's a collection of stories about ladies and their tattoos. So the story behind their tattoos. This is my second book, Portrait of Woman in Ink. And then Community Klepto took me 10 years to write and another 2 years to publish.
Wow. So the Women in Ink, did you self-publish, or was that published by a publisher too?
It was published by a small press out of Indiana that's not around anymore. So now it's technically out of print. And of course I have it up on Amazon because the rights came back to me and I like published it as a backlist, but it was originally published by a small press in Indiana.
Very cool. So what has your feedback been like? Because these are very unique stories. What has your feedback been like from the audiences who've gotten these books?
They are definitely different books. And I would say that like going forward, I think my books fall more into what I did with Community Klepto than what I did with The Redheaded Stepchild, although there are a lot of elements of humor in my first 2 books as well. Of course, you know, the feedback I always get is keep writing. When I was writing Community Klepto, you know, I was going to these critique groups at coffee shops here in Austin, and I was like this pregnant, like out to here. And I'm like, I gotta finish this book before I have these twins. So, you know, and everybody's like, don't give up, just keep going, just keep going. So I finally did finish, like, when I say finish, I mean, I wrote the end and then spent another year, like editing my first draft, you know, right before my twins came. So I did make it, but I was editing during nap time for like a year.
Wow. And then, so did you then submit? How did you just do submissions instead of going self-published? What made you decide to, with the Klepto, to do it traditionally versus self?
Yeah, I felt like I had done 2 flavors of publishing. I'd done the self-publishing, I'd done the small press, and I wanted, like, people kept telling me like, yeah, you can traditionally publish this book. And this is with a hybrid publisher, She Writes Press. So I've now tried a third like flavor of publishing. So I'm just trying all the flavors, you know, chocolate, vanilla, twist, strawberry, pistachio, which is my favorite ice cream because nobody else likes it and I don't have to share.
That's a good theory, actually. That is a good theory. I like that. So how's that been different for you, doing these different routes?
It's a good question. I think I've definitely had more mainstream success with the hybrid route. Like my book is in a lot of libraries across the US. It's in the UK as well. I think I even have a purchase in New Zealand, which is very random, but you know, yay. For distribution, like, is a big deal, and where you can get your book into stores. So, you know, Community Klepto is in stores, whereas The Redheaded Stepchild was only on Amazon, but, you know, you make like 70% of the royalties when your book is just on Amazon. So there's that. And as far as like different, I don't know, I kind of just want to try all the different ways that you can publish a book and see which one I like best. So next I just got to get that elusive, you know, Simon and Schuster deal.
Well, even then, that may not be the right way to publish a book.
No idea.
Yeah, I know. It's that.
I got to try them all.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely an interesting misnomer when you go to the big guys, because the big guys can either be, wow, that's amazing, or the majority go, yeah, no, I'll go back to a small press, or I'll do it myself, or whatever with the book,
Yeah, when I got the deal with the small press for Portrait of Women in Ink, I was like, oh my God, this is a big deal. And then like a year went by and I was like, you haven't really done anything for me. So what should I do next?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, Bo, you get a question and then we have to break.
What does your typical writing day look like?
I don't have a typical writing day. Oh my God.
I know that feeling. I know that
Yeah,
feeling. I have kids
have
too.
I have 2 first graders and a full-time job. So my writing time happens after my kids are in bed and my workday is over and my spouse doesn't need me to do more shit. So my typical writing day, like I don't write every day because that just does not fit into my schedule. I write 3 days a week. I put it on my calendar. I shut the door. I put on my noise canceling headphones. I use my incredibly loud typewriter keyboard and just drown out the world. But that's, I mean, I only get like 6 hours of writing a week. But I kind of figure that if I write 1,000 words a week, which is like my goal, and there's 52 weeks in a year, that's basically a book per year.
It's a whole book. See?
Yeah.
That's good.
So you don't have to write every day. You don't have to write at the same time every day. Because there are times like if there's nothing going on a Sunday morning and I'm feeling inspired and people are leaving me alone, then absolutely, I'll get out my loud keyboard and get to it.
Sometimes I just type on my phone, like in the bathroom, hiding in there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, that counts for the day. Good job, me.
I don't do that, but I have a dry erase marker in my car because that's when all my good ideas come to me because it's when my brain is off. So I'm like, which is kind of unfair. Like your brain is off and that's when your best ideas come to you. So I keep that marker in my car so that I can write that idea on the window of the car next to me. And sometimes that's the only writing that I do. And sometimes, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and write. And all I do is read the page that I wrote the last time. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Like whatever works for you. Like, you see people who try to dole out advice on how to write or create a space or create a routine. Like that's not, like there is no one way to do it. You just have to find what works for you. And me with 2 6-year-olds and a full-time job, that is what works for me.
No, I think that's great. What you just said is true. As long as you are writing. I mean, the biggest thing is not doing anything because the book will never write itself. We're not quite to
I'm
that
still waiting
point.
for that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Eventually our AI overlords will absolutely make it possible to just pull them from our brain, but I think we're a little ways out from that. That's where I feel. And on that note, on AI taking over our brains, we will be right back with Drinking with Authors.
Sample locally sourced, quality distilled spirits in the beautiful Columbia River Gorge. At Skunk Brothers Distillery, we're family owned, brewing small batch grain to bottle spirits, just like our grandfather did back in the Prohibition era. From handcrafted bourbons and moonshine to flavored blends and cordials infused with local fruit. Join us for a tasting tour and buy Skunk Brothers spirits straight from the source.
It's all in the family at Skunk Brothers Spirits, located in Stevenson, Washington.
Okay, we're back. So let's talk a little bit about reviews. I don't know why I went there, but I'm going there. So do you read your reviews?
I would be lying if I said that I did not know exactly how many reviews I have on every single one of my books right now. And I definitely read all of them. And of course, there are some that you have to, yay. And there are some that you have to, like, and that's just part of it.
Hey, they bought your book. They gave you money.
Exactly. Or they got it from the library, and yay, libraries, they're the best things ever.
I tell people that all the time. If you're at a convention or you're at a show and somebody's like, oh, whatever, go get my book from a library. Here, take this card in and tell them to order the book because they'll get it.
Absolutely.
I think, libraries need to be utilized so much more than they are. I remember like living in the little card files and finding all of my books that way.
Absolutely. I spent a whole summer at the library when I was a kid because you could do that in the 90s. Like you can't just drop your kids off at the library today, but someday. And then I also write reviews too. Well, I don't write them. I have a TikTok channel where I review books. I stopped writing reviews for books because I felt like I was just writing the same thing over and over again. And what I really wanted to talk about was my experience with the book, like where I got it, what I was doing while I read it, what was going on in my life. And to put that in a Goodreads review seemed kind of self-indulgent to me. So now I have a TikTok channel where I talk about the book, how I got it, and I also pair that book with a drink and a record from my record collection. So the only time I make cocktails is when I'm doing TikTok.
Hey, I think, but that's brilliant. That is brilliant. People, so let's talk about the talk for a moment. I call it the talk. It's
The
my
talk.
name.
My husband calls it clock.
Yes, I'm like,
Clock,
let's talk
clock.
about the talk for a moment because, authors, you have to do marketing regardless of who you're with as a publisher. Even if you get with one of the big guys, you generally are responsible for doing all of your marketing and public relations, right? They just,
Which sucks, and
they'll do
it's
some things,
expensive.
but not a ton necessarily, right? And to reach the audience the way we need to reach the audience, you have to do more because even if they run an ad in the Wall Street Journal, done, gone.
If you can afford that.
Yeah, but it's done, and it's that was
And it
yesterday's
goes away.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll never, it's in the trash.
So what made you decide to go down the route of the talk? Because that's a little commitment in and of itself.
It totally is. And I basically told myself I'll keep doing it as long as I enjoy it. And once I stop enjoying it, I'll do something else. But like I said, I just wanted to, like being an author, you realize how important reviews are for books. So like every book you read, even if you hate it, like even a bad review will sell a couple books. Like there is no bad, like saying nothing is worse than just not like doing a bad review. So, I'm reading all these books, especially from other authors that I know, and wanted to at least say something and say something new. And I got tired of basically writing, I enjoyed this book. Here's what I liked about it. Here's what I did not like about it. It just felt so formulaic to me. And I wanted to, go deeper and talk about, I got this book when I met this author at this event and they signed the book for me. And we talked about our kids throwing up in the car, that kind of experience that really adds to the book for me. And then my husband is a hoarder and we have like 80,000 records in our house and I enjoy booze. So I was like, in any given book, there's probably some reference to music and there's probably some reference to a drink. So and if there's not, I can make something up because it's my experience with it. So that's what I started doing.
I think that's fantastic. How often do you do this?
I post on TikTok twice a week and I record like 8 books at a time and just push them out twice a week.
Wow.
I have a huge backlog that I have to film, but it's like, oh, then I have to do my hair. I have to put on a shirt. I have to put on a bra. So I'll wait until all that happens. And I like have a little, first I have to figure out, what am I going to pair with this book? What kind of drink, what kind of record? I have to go see if it's in my collection. Sometimes I just kind of have to search through the collection. We have it all digitized now, so we know what records we have and how much they're worth, which is kind of exciting. And, then it's like, do I have to go to the liquor store or not? What can I do with what I already have in my house? And then I also have to find a quiet time in the day to do that, which is usually when my kids are watching Frozen on Sunday afternoon.
So you can just hear Frozen like softly in the background of all your TikToks.
Make it stop. Make it stop.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's hysterical. But that's awesome. And I love that you're doing something, because when I talk to authors about getting into TikTok and stuff, I always have to tell them, like, this is a commitment. You can't Diet Coke TikTok, because if you're just going to do random stuff, just stay on Instagram. Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
has
you
the
have to have a
videos.
thing. You have to have your own thing.
Yes, you
I do
absolutely
random
have to
stuff
have a thing.
too, but I have to be like really inspired to do the random thing on TikTok.
Yeah, no, but you do. I hate to say, you almost have to have some kind of gimmick, because most people, a video will go viral, not all of the
Right.
videos go viral. But if somebody
And then
really
you
likes,
catch yourself in a trap of spending 3 hours to make a 30-second video, and nobody wants to be in that trap.
well, there are several people that want to be in that trap, apparently. 'Cause
Well, I'm not it.
no, neither am I. Well,
Neither.
that's one of the reasons, to be honest, I don't have a TikTok, because it's not anything against TikTok. I just go, I can't even commit to doing the couple times a week on top of everything else. I'm just like, if I do it, I want to do it correctly, and not just like, cool, that was it, having the videos. Okay, Bo, I always circumvent your questions. Go with questions.
So you talked about music, and what do you like to listen to while you're writing?
Silence,
Silence.
because I
Same.
never get it.
Yeah.
There are times that I'll listen to classical music when I'm writing, especially if there's if the TV is too loud or my husband is watching pro wrestling. I'm like, I can still hear it. I'm going to turn on some Chopin, or anything without words. Like, I can listen to electronic stuff while I write. I can listen to classical while I write. But if there are lyrics, nope, can't do it. So
Start writing
Rat-a-tat,
down the lyrics. You're writing lyrics.
I listen to a lot of Rat-a-tat while I write, which is one of my favorite bands.
I listen to Celtic music. I understand. I can't do the words, because then I start thinking about the songs, and then I'm not thinking about what I'm writing, or I have a memory of the last time I heard the song or what the song means to me, and then that's a whole entire down the rabbit hole.
But yeah, I'm usually with my noise canceling headphones and nothing in my headphones, just for silence. Because there's not enough silence in my life. There's just not.
Yeah.
Very true. What about, have you done in-person events with your books?
I have. So it came out in June, the last part of June. So right after the 4th of July, I did a lot of in-person events. I did 2 here in Austin. And then right around the time that was happening, I got notice that it was my 20th high school reunion was supposed to be in 2020. So of course that didn't happen. And they decided that they were going to do something in the summer of 2022, which I would normally be like, no, I don't really need to go back to that. But I was like, that's right after my book comes out. So it was an excuse to go see my family, see people. And then I did I did a book event in Kansas City and a book event in Springfield, where I went to college. So I got to see all my friends and family, and they got to come out and support the book. And that was really cool. I think the coolest thing for me, though, was I go to 2 events that are put on by this bookstore, and people who just like this bookstore will go to author events, even if they have no idea who the author is or what the book's about. They like this bookstore. They want to support the bookstore, so they show up. And I'm like, did my mom put you up to this? How do you know me? It's like, I don't know you. I just like going to events at this store. And I'm like, that's fucking cool. That doesn't happen on Zoom. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
People don't randomly show up for Zoom events.
No, I think that's true. And I love hearing that people are supporting the bookstores too. And I think it's important for us, even if you don't know an author, to go out, because if you only go to events where authors are at, then you will never find new books like that.
And the authors that you know are probably not going to events at the tiny bookstore in your town.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. And on top of that, if only friends and family show up, they generally already purchased the book somehow.
They already got the book. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you've already bought the book, yay, come out. But instead of you just coming out, bring 5
friend.
people you know. that will buy the book, because otherwise it does nothing at the book thing for you just to show up and you've already bought the book to other than go, hey, Kelly, I'm here, high five. You're like, cool, can you go find somebody else who will purchase the book? Like,
and there's nothing that bookstores hate more than for you to bring a friend who comes to the event with the book that they bought on Amazon.
Yeah.
And they want you to sign it. Like, the bookstore is going to hate you, even though you have no control over that as an author, where people get your book or what
You're
they
like,
do.
I don't know them. I don't know this person. They're a stranger.
no, it's true. So what was that like? Like the first time you signed a book, what was that like?
I got this super fancy pen as a gift from a friend for my 40th birthday. As I mentioned, this book came out 1 week after my 40th birthday. So like, this pen is like writing on a cloud, and I'm just like, I want to sign everything. I want to write on my walls, just like my children do. Why not? But just seeing my book on a shelf in a store, that is like a high like no other. And I'm sure that at some point you outgrow that when it becomes passé, but I'm not there yet. So the first time that I signed a book, I like wrote a happy face, and I was like, okay, now I have to write with a happy face all the time. For the rest of time, all of my signatures have to have a happy face. And one thing that I started doing with this book that I had not done before, since this isn't the first book that's come out since I had kids, my kids get invited to, I'm not kidding, one birthday party, like 2 birthday parties per weekend. There's so many birthday parties, and there's so many crappy plastic toys. And I'm like, we are not going to get this kid a crappy plastic toy, because I don't want you getting crappy plastic toys with 100 pieces. So we go to a bookstore. I let the kids pick out a book for the birthday boy or girl, and we're supporting a local bookstore. They're getting a nice present. And then I have a stamp that says this book belongs to, and my kids will write the birthday boy or girl's name in the book. So I've started doing that with my books. When somebody buys them and I sign it, I do a stamp that says this book belongs to, and then I sign it.
I love that. That's so cute.
That is adorable. And I know Bo's going to be like, now I'm going to get one of
I'm
those.
stealing that idea.
No, I think that is absolutely.
You can find them at Hobby Lobby.
There you go. Absolutely adorable. I think that's a great way to do it. And I think when you sign a book to somebody, and you get a chance, you go meet the author, but I feel like that's more treasured a lot of times than, just getting a book, right? Is the book.
Yeah, I'm not going to put that book in my little free library because somebody signed it.
Yeah. And you get to have a conversation with somebody
if they
and learn about them. And
even
you
if
don't get a lot of time for that. Yeah.
Even if the author spells my name wrong, which happens more often than you might think, they're like, they do an I or the EY or, whatever. Like, I'm still going to treasure that book, and it's going to be on my shelf forever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have a lot of books because of that, because going to cons and stuff like that, and meeting authors and hey, what is your book about and stuff like that. Because you can totally throw off an author going to a convention and just walking up to their table and be like, tell me about your book, because they're waiting, like, what? You want to hear about my book?
It feels like a test, honestly. It feels like I'm like being graded for something, and I'm like, if I don't do a good job, they're not going to buy the book, so I have to do a good job. And then I end up fucking it up because now I feel tested.
Yeah, I would think, wait, is this going to be on TikTok tomorrow?
Am I being recorded?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
It's a fair question. You never know when you're being recorded.
It's true.
That's true.
I just assume I'm always recorded, always on TikTok.
Oh, true. Okay, Bo, your next question, my love.
What is your favorite book trope in any genre?
To lovers.
Yes. Best one.
I don't know why, because I always see it but I still always like it.
Yeah.
And I've never experienced that in real life. So maybe that's why I like it, because it's not something I've experienced in real life. Like,
I've never been so mad at someone I want to kiss them.
No, not ever.
I think it's definitely a fantasy trope. I've
been so mad I want to eviscerate them like in your work.
I will. Well, I write horror. I write chick lit erotica, which is where this dating thing is going to go. But I also write horror that doesn't have happy endings.
Well, the online dating thing could go in horror too.
It could.
That's what I was
but-
gonna say. Yeah, it really could. You could make it really ominous.
Yeah, but I actually have a story that's going to, the idea is going to go into. Don't worry, you'll be thanked in the acknowledgments. Okay.
Sweet.
Is there, what about stuff that you want to write? Like, so you have this one you're working on. Do you know what you want to do right after that one?
No, I have no fucking clue. I do have a lot of kids' books that I've either written or are half written or are ideas in my head, just because my kids give me so many ideas for books. And I see like gaps. Like I'm like, I need a book to introduce this concept to my kid. Why doesn't this book exist? That doesn't make sense to me. So there's a lot of that. But as far as a novel after this one, I can definitely not see the light at the end of the tunnel for the one that I'm halfway through now. So who knows what the next one's going to be.
Well, I like it. I like it. I like the children's books idea. I think that is a great idea to base it off of things that you want to tell your kids and stuff like that. I think that's phenomenal. Because that
it's either that there's nothing on it, or what is out there is so shitty that I get tired of hearing it. And like, this is the best you could do to explain this concept to a kid? Because I could explain it better than that. And people are like, well, why don't you then? I'm like, hold my beer. Let's go.
hold my beer. What is something that surprised you when you first got published? Like something that you didn't think about when you first went down the publishing route?
Like definitely the amount of marketing you have to do, the amount of, I really hate the B word of brand, but like it's a thing you have to do. And it feels so dirty to me to call myself a brand.
But you're a celebrity. I tell that to people. I give talks on shameless self-promotion all the time. And I actually have a chapter going into a book on writing about shameless self-promotion. They asked me to write it because the first thing I say is you're a celebrity and you're a brand. Like, I know people
apparently this is my brand now.
Yeah, hey, I'm all about that brand. But you are a brand, and if you don't treat it like that, I think it can work as a disadvantage because you're not taking opportunities to talk about yourself the right way.
And some of my favorite books and some of my favorite authors are people who don't do that well. And it makes me sad because I don't even hear about their books until like months after they come out. And of course I'm going to read it because I already know that what you wrote is good. And I already know that I'm going to read, like basically you could shit on a page and I'm going to read it because I like you as a writer and I'm going to read it, anything you put out. But if I don't know it exists, I can't do that.
No, absolutely. And I agree. It's like, how do you find out, especially because a lot of writers, not all of them are multi-book writing, very fast writers. And so sometimes there's years in between when you get their next book. So you're not watching them all the time going, did it come out? Did it come out? You're like waiting for them to go, hey, it came out. Go read my book, you know?
Pre-orders open today.
Oh my gosh, pre-orders. Pre-orders are
such a big deal.
Amazing. And people don't realize how big of a deal pre-orders are, how long their book, like there's an exact sweet spot for how long you should have a pre-order up. By the way, hashtag everybody, it's not 9 months. It's not having a child.
Or even
that
6.
Yeah, it's 3 months. 3 months is
yeah.
the key, to doing it. And that's not taken advantage of as much out there. So when you're reading your reviews, have you felt like you can distance yourself from your review so that you don't take them personally?
I've only had 1 2-star review of Community Klepto so far. And that review basically said, that the book was just a person on the treadmill all the time. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. Because it kind of was for like 5 chapters, because that's what I was doing when I wrote it. And that's what the character was doing when I wrote it. So if you find that repetitive, then sure. Yeah, that's a fair. I haven't had any 1 stars or any like, I wish I could give this book 0 stars. Haven't had any of those yet. But when I do, I'll probably cry and then drink some wine and then get over it.
Yeah,
Because, books are subjective, and they should be. Like one book, like there is no book that could ever be written that will appeal to every person in every walk of life at one given time. That just doesn't exist, and it shouldn't exist, because books should exist. Like you should be able to say, I don't like this thing, and that's okay, or this thing is not for me, and that's okay. Books are subjective, and they should be.
I agree 100%. Okay, Bo, final question.
You always give me the final question and it's scary. Because what
I know, well, I always do it.
It's not really the final question.
Yes,
like
I want to find a part of this part.
It's not really the final question. Like, I'm gonna get more questions in my lifetime. I'm not gonna leave here.
Not the last time.
She is not judging you based on this question, Bo.
True. What genre would you like to write but are afraid to write?
Horror. Because I have so many fucked up stories in my head, but I don't know that I can execute on like the gore or the suspense or the tension, because I would just make a dick joke and throw it off.
We need more dick jokes in horror, honestly.
Well, yeah.
Although you can do humorous
Yes, I love schlocky horror films. That's like my guilty pleasure, 100%. I just don't feel like I could write one. But I probably could if I sat down to do it.
Have you read Jeff Strand?
I think I've read one of his.
He writes humorous horror like incredibly well with all of that stuff in there. So if you
I've read a lot of humorous horror this year, and the thing that I love about it is, and when I read the reviews of it, people are like, oh, this isn't very, I'm like, it's not supposed to be. Like, it's not supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to be good. It's like watching on the moon. Like
Cabin Fever.
It's like watching Cabin Fever in the tiniest movie theater that's like gross and has a sticky floor. That's what those books are supposed to be.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's kind of like paranormal romance. I mean, paranormal romance for the most part is so entertaining and you get in love with the characters, but they're generally not like riveting literary art.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
Like,
and I recently read a satirical paranormal romance about mummies, and it was so funny just because like it could be like, it was not going to take itself seriously. That's why I can't do a whole lot of paranormal romance, because they think that the vampire romance is like actually serious, and I just can't take that seriously. But if you're not taking it seriously, I'll read that fucking all day.
It's like a soap opera. You're just supposed to have a good time.
Yeah.
Weird stuff's supposed to happen that you go, there's no way that would happen, but it's supposed to in those kind of books, and we love it. Okay, Kelly, it's time for your shameless self-promotion. How do people find you and your books?
You can find me everywhere. My website, if you search for Kelly Hitchcock, you'll probably find some Alfred Hitchcock and some Grace Kelly, but I am the Kelly Hitchcock, and my website is kellyhitchcock.com. and Kelly Hitchcock on Facebook, Kel Hitchcock on Instagram, Kelly Hitchcock on Twitter. My TikTok, where I review books and pair them with booze and records, is Kelly Hitchcock Pairings. My book is Community Klepto. It's available everywhere books are sold. And you can also find me in the pickup line for my kid's school, but I'm not going to tell you where that is because that would be creepy.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not even go looking for her there. We're going to hard pass on that. So it was amazing having you on the show with us today. Thank you so much
for having me. Cheers.
Absolutely. Cheers. 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 Oh, that was just gin. That was just gin at the bottom there. That's fine.
This beer,
You don't have the moonshine today, Erica.
No, I
just
didn't do
realized
moonshine because I
that
did.
this beer is 14%.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, I instead decided to do this bougie combination. And next time I'll do the gin, but no, moonshine. Whoa, words. Okay, so we're going to end this podcast now. I've been your host, Erica Lance. Do not forget to like and subscribe and review because we love all of those things. My co-host has been the amazing Bo Lake. Our guest has been Kelly Hitchcock, and we will see you guys next time.